can you please welcome our first speaker, Ms. Petula Flavius?
When I walked up here today, tell me, what's the first thing you noticed about me?
Short.
I thought you would say like beautiful, shoes, but you had to say, didn't you?
I noticed your shoes.
You noticed my shoes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So short. So let's talk about short. Today, I am 4 feet 9 3/4 inches tall. Don't forget the 3/4 inches. That's important.
What's up?
But on the right day, with the right pair of shoes and the wind blowing in my favor, I may just make it up to 5 feet. There is a man somewhere out there named Mickey. And in 4th grade, Mickey was about 6 feet tall, or so it seems. In 4th grade, Mickey decided that my height was a problem. Mickey teased me mercilessly about my height, constantly, not occasionally. Every school day, Mickey would joke, he would laugh just because of my height. On school day, Mickey walked up in my space, towering over me. And what do you think Mickey said? Mickey said, I will beat you up today just because of my height. Said, I will beat you up today. And when Mickey said that, I heard my obituary and my short legs started trembling. For the rest of the day, I wasn't focused on what the teacher was saying. I was focused on trying to figure out how to get away from Mickey. Should I tell the teacher that Mickey wants to beat me up? Should I try to rush out of the class as soon as the school bell rings? Or should I ask somebody to go get my brothers to help me out? So I couldn't focus on math. I couldn't focus on English. As soon as the death bell rang, sorry, not the death bell, the final bell rang, I rushed out of the class trying to find a place to hide. But what do you think happened?
You found
I hid. You think? Oh, no, the story doesn't end there. Mickey just appeared in front of me. And before I knew it, we were surrounded by school kids. And somebody was shouting, Mickey is fighting Petula. Give me a break. That wasn't a fight. And miraculously, 2 of my brothers appeared and I hid behind one of my brothers. And in one way or another, I stayed hidden for a very long time after that. I hid when I was afraid. I hid when I was sad. I hid when I was sick. And I stayed hidden for a very long time. And the scary part is hiding felt safe. Hiding felt like a smart plan. Hiding felt like survival. Anybody out there knows what I'm talking about. Until I realized that hiding was also keeping me from my purpose. It was keeping me from my happiness. What I didn't know then, that the fear experience when Mickey tried to beat me up, it didn't stay in my childhood. It grew up with me into adulthood. Anybody knows what I'm talking about. A fear that you experienced years ago, it's still with you today. Fear does not stay behind. It grows with you. And fear, it doesn't stop you. It convinces you to stop yourself. And most of the time, fear is not loud. Fear whispers in your ears. Fear has a voice, and so does truth. And eventually, you have to decide which voice you listen to. Will you listen to the voice of fear or will you listen to the voice of truth? The theme for today is walking in purpose with gratitude. And the title of my talk is Breaking Your Agreement with Fear. Are you ready to break your agreement with fear? How do you walk in purpose when fear is tied to your hands? How do you walk in purpose when fear is wrapped around your body? How do you walk in purpose when fear is pressing down your chest? And that fear keeps talking. When you're young, the fear whispers, you don't fit in. When you're older, the fear whispers, you'll fail. You're too broken. You're sick. You're alone. Nobody wants you. He left you. The fear is always whispering. So how many of you can still remember something somebody said to you years ago? Or maybe it was yesterday or this morning. Something such as you're nobody. You'll always be sick. You won't get better. And the moment this person said this painful thing to you, that moment passed. But what stayed with you was the fear. What stayed with you was the words. Because words can bruise places that nobody else can see. You cannot walk in purpose. You cannot be truly happy. You cannot be peaceful while staying in agreement with fear. Hiding may protect you from pain, but it also keeps you from your purpose. And over time, I had to learn how to break my agreement with fear. It didn't happen instantly. It didn't happen perfectly. It was minute by minute, hour by hour, step by step, year by year. The method I use to break my agreement with fear is a framework that I use called Name It, Break It, Voice It. I use that same framework to help other women break the agreement with fear. So name it, break it, voice it. I can hear somebody asking, but Petula, what do you mean by name it, break it, voice it? Do you want to know? Let me demonstrate it to you. A few years ago, my life didn't fall apart all at once. It unraveled moment by moment. It started with a surgery that didn't go as planned. Then my marriage ended. Then my daughter left for college. I became an empty nester. Then if that wasn't enough, menopause hit. Anybody knows about menopause hitting? Standing in a room and forgetting why you came in that room. Losing words mid-sentence. Anybody? Somebody? I remember one day I was leading a meeting. I was saying something about my boss, and mid-sentence I forgot my boss's name. And I looked at my coworker. I said, "What's our boss name again?" And I pretended it was a joke, but it was terrifying because I thought I was losing my mind. Menopause humility is different. 1 minute you're intelligent and professional, and the next minute you're buffering like bad Wi-Fi. And if that wasn't enough, marriage broke, bad surgery, what came next? I got diagnosed with osteoporosis. And was that enough? That wasn't enough. Every food I ate after that, I was getting a reaction to it. Too much for one person, somebody may be thinking. I became afraid to eat. I became afraid to sleep. I became afraid to wake up. And after all of that, I had to change my home. I was barely 50 and I had to go stay in a retirement apartment facility. I wasn't close to retirement. And I remember clearly when I was carrying the boxes in that apartment, the silence, because my marriage was over, my daughter was gone. And I sat at the edge of that bed and the tears kept falling. And it wasn't a loud kind of crying. It was like weeping silently and screams trapped in your chest. Anybody knows that feeling? And I remember whispering, "Why, God? Why? Why? Anybody ask why, God? Why me? I did the right things. I helped people. I went to church. I volunteered. I paid the tithe and offering. I showed up for everybody else. So why are you letting this happen to me? Why are you letting my life unravel?" And I sat there in silence. Just a woman who had lost a lot. Anyone here has lost a lot? Wondering if God even remembers you anymore? Maybe you know that feeling. It's not a loud kind of falling apart. It's the quiet kind. It's the kind where you still show up, but a light in you has dimmed. A light in you has gone out. But somewhere in all that weeping, my book, Weeping Her Way to Wholeness, was born. And that book was not born out of peace. It was not written in comfort. It was written from pain, in pain. Some people may smoke their pain away. Some people may drink their pain away, but I wrote my pain away. On the outside, I looked perfect. I was functioning, but on the inside, I was disappearing. You can be functioning and still falling apart. I see a lot of notes. And in those quiet moments when I was writing my pain out, I wrote my fears out. Name it. That's what I was doing. Name it. Page by page, tear after tear, until the fear and the pain I had buried for years from the time of Mickey. The fears I had from then, I wrote it out. It was finally coming out. So back to the question. Have you ever asked, why me? Maybe to God, maybe to the universe if you don't believe in God, or maybe just to yourself at 3 a.m. when you can't fall asleep. Why me? So the first step in breaking your agreement with fear is what? What is the fear that I'm carrying? Name it. Is it fear of rejection? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of being abandoned? Is it fear of not being accepted? Is it fear of not having enough money to survive? Is it fear of being sick and you don't feel you recover? Is it fear that your best years are behind you? What is the fear that's keeping you from your purpose? Is it fear that you'll never be enough? Name that fear. Because when you name the fear, it starts losing its power. Because what you refuse to name, you would face. And what you refuse to name, you knowingly give permission to stay. So name that fear. Eleanor Roosevelt said, you gain strength, you gain courage and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. So name that fear. Name one fear that you have today. Just one. It could be something like, I'm not good enough. It could be something like, I'll always struggle. It could be something like, I'll fail. It could be something like, nobody wants me. Just name that fear and write it down. That fear. Remember, fear loses its power when you face it. So face it by writing it down. What's the next step in breaking your agreement with fear? You've named it. What's the second step? Break it. After you name the fear, you don't stop there. You break it. I know breaking fear may sound scary, but you can do it one step at a time. Fear makes suggestions, but you make the decisions. Fear cannot make your decisions for you. Fear will tell you you're too old, you're too young, you've messed up too much, and you'll never recover. Fear will tell you the man will leave you. Fear will keep talking if you let it. It's up to you whether you keep replaying the voice of fear over and over in your mind, or whether you decide, I'm done agreeing with fear. I am done listening to the voice of fear. I had to replace the voice of fear with the voice of truth. You need to replace the voice of fear with the voice of truth. There's a song that goes, the voice of truth tells me a different story. I had to learn how to stop listening to the voice of fear and start listening to the voice of truth. And the voice of truth today is telling you, you are still valuable, you are still worthy, you are still needed. Your life, it's not over yet. There's still life inside of you. If you are sick, you can heal, you can rise again. Because the truth is you still have purpose. The truth is you can still be happy. Some of us think we're too old to be happy. We're never too old to be happy. It's just fear talking to us. None of us can control every thought that comes into our mind. You can't control the part. The part you can control is whether the thought gets to stay in your mind. You can decide what thought stays. And just because fear is speaking to you doesn't mean you have to listen. So someone wants to ask me, how do you stop listening to the voice of fear? Breaking my agreement with fear didn't happen all at once. It started slowly. Healing takes time, so don't rush it. It started internally. I had to stop listening to and agreeing to the voice of fear. Every negative thought, fear was feeding me. So I had to change what I called myself. You know the names you call yourselves. I had to stop calling myself broken. I had to stop calling myself finished. I had to stop calling myself unwanted. I had to replace that voice of negativity. I had to replace that voice of fear with that voice of truth. Second thing I had to do, I had to start repeating to myself over and over again, you are valuable, you are still worthy, you are still needed, your life is not over, you can heal, you can do this, you deserve to be happy. Repeat it over and over again. And little by little, after I started doing these two things, my life started changing and your life can start changing too. After I started that internal work, I had to also do the external work. I started opening my curtains, I reaching out to my neighbors, I started volunteering, I started going to church. And little by little, the internal met the external and my life started changing. Healing starts when you stop hiding from the fear inside of you and face that fear honestly. So break that fear. Write one thing that fear has been preventing you from doing. Just one. Maybe fear has been preventing you from speaking up. Maybe fear has been preventing you from applying for that job. Maybe fear has been preventing you from leaving that toxic relationship. Maybe fear has been telling you that if you go to the doctor, he'll tell you something that you don't want to hear. So fear has been keeping you from going to the doctor. Maybe fear has been preventing you from forgiving yourself from something that happened 20 years ago. So name that fear. And after you've named that fear, just below it, I'm taking my power back. I make it a mantra. Look at the fear and tell the fear to its face, I am taking my power back. Make it a mantra, make it a goal. Because the fear that you never name is a fear that keeps controlling you. And a goal never written down is just a wish. So that's why I had you write it down, because if you don't write it down, sometimes you just forget it. Most people can name their fear and they can even start breaking it. But most people stop at voicing your fear. Many people carry their fears alone. You carry all your fears alone. You don't want people to know what you're going through. Many people suffer silently. They smile in public, but they're breaking apart in silence in their rooms. Things really started changing for me when I found my voice. And one of the ways I found my voice was writing my book, Weeping Her Way to Wholeness. And after I wrote that book, I started sharing my story. And women started saying, me too. I thought I was the only one. I never heard somebody had gone through that. So I voiced it. And just this past Monday, somebody I sent my book to, she sent a text to me and he said, your book couldn't have come at a better time. Voice it. And through all these conversations, I realized maybe my pain wasn't useless. Maybe I survived all of this so I could help another woman go through the same thing. Because your story is not a burden. Sometimes we think that all the stuff we have gone through, people don't want to help because it's too much. Your story may just be the bridge to someone else's healing. Maya Angelou said it best. She said, there is no greater agony than buried an untold story inside of you. And for many years, many of us, many of you have carried untold stories inside of you, hidden stories, painful stories, stories that hide behind makeup, stories that hide behind work, stories that hide behind jokes. Some of us hide behind, I'm fine. But healing started for me when I stopped carrying everything alone. Because before I found answers, I found people. People who reminded me and people who remind you that you're not crazy, you're not weak, you're not alone. And maybe for you, that person can be a trusted sister, it can be a therapist, it can be a pastor, it can be a teacher, it can be a counselor, it can be a coach, it can be a doctor. Somebody safe. Somebody who can remind you that fear is lying to you. That's why I'm here today, to remind you that you are not alone. Fear is lying to you, and there is at least one trusted person that you can reach out to. Write down the name of at least one trusted person you can reach out to this week. Just one. Because you do not have to carry this fear, this burden alone. So now that you know how to name your fear, start breaking your fear, voice your fear. What's next? I want to give you one practical step that you can use today, right now. Remember, I was asking myself, why me? Why this pain? Why this season? And one day a different question came to me. Why not me? Why not me to go through this pain? Why not me to rise from this pain? Why not me to grow from this pain? Why not me to become stronger than I ever imagined? Because I became stronger because of all the stuff I went through. And would I be here today giving you my testimony if I didn't go through this pain? Would I have become a speaker, an author, a coach if I didn't go through this pain? But I know some of you might be going through things heavier than I went through. And the question, why me, may not be the appropriate question. Another question you can ask yourself, what can I learn from this season that I'm going through? What can I learn from this season I am going through? So whichever question works best for you, remember, healing or breaking your agreement with fear does not happen because life suddenly becomes easy. Healing starts when you stop surrendering your identity to fear. Healing starts when you stop agreeing with every lie that the devil is telling you. And when you stop agreeing with fear, you finally make room in your life for purpose, for happiness, and for joy. So healing is possible. Happiness is possible. Purpose is still possible because fear may be part of your story, but fear does not have to become your identity. Your pain may have shaped you, but it does not have to define you. Your story is not over. So when fear starts whispering, what do? You name it, break it, and replace the voice of fear with the voice of truth. Fear grows in silence, but healing begins when you finally get a voice.